Hey y'all, welcome to day 24 of my 30-day engagement series. And today I'm going to be talking about healing. So, my name is Shawn Aaron, he, him, his. And for folks, if today is your first day joining me, welcome. If you have been listening to me and rocking with me for 23 days now, thank you for coming back and supporting me. So, today's question is, what has healing looked like for me lately? And so I'm going to attempt to get through this day recording this reflection without getting emotional. Why? Because healing is still an ongoing process for me. And so, what does healing look like for me? The first thing I want to say, healing is therapy for me now. As growing up as a young person, I talk about this all the time. If folks have been following me for a while, I talk about the physical and verbal abuse that I received as a child. And so, a lot of times when folks are raising children, they don't think that the things that they say or the things that they do have such a big impact on a child's life. But if that was the case, then there wouldn't be therapists, right? If everybody went through life and didn't have trauma, didn't have triggers and all of these things, therapists wouldn't have a job. They wouldn't have careers. So, the first thing in the first process in my healing journey is therapy. And so I there was a lot. Okay, so let me start with this. So verbal abuse, I had to unlearn and unpack a lot of that stuff, right? And so I had to learn that at 44 years old, at this recording, I'm 44 years old. I'm not all of those things that I heard as a child, right? And so I had an aunt that used to tease me all the time. And she was being funny, but I internalized a lot of the things that she teased me about. For instance, she teased me about how I walked. She teased me about my fingernails, the way that they grow. My nails they grow out really thin, really fragile, and they kind of like I don't know. They just have a weird shape to them, right? And so over the years, I've been very, very self-conscious of that because she would always tease me about it and she thought it was funny. She would like, "Let me see your nails, let me see your nails," right? And she would just like press them down like she was trying to fix them. And so to this very day, and I never talked about this before. And just that's why this is a reflection series. I am reflecting. This is about Black trans visibility, and it's also about vulnerability, care, and legacy, right? And so I didn't realize that until in this very moment. So, see, I told you I was going to try not to be emotional because I am unpacking a lot of these things. And so you are witnessing this raw and unfiltered, some of the conversations that I'm having here. And so to this very day, I do not like the white part to show on my fingernails. So when my fingernails grow out, any little white, I'm cutting it. I don't like to see it because I'm still internalizing being teased as a child about how my nails grew. And so also with my walk, I realize that I'm sharing this reflection and what healing looks like for me and why I'm in therapy to this day. I always was very self-conscious of how I walk, and I always look down at my feet when I walk because I was self-conscious about how I was teased about the way that I walk. Now, listen, when you learn to walk when you 1 years old, 2 years old, that's usually how you tend to walk as an adult, right? It's a part of your personality. You taking your first step is the first step into your personality. I feel like because if you have a limp or if you have, it grows over time, but it grows with you because that's who you are, right? And so I wasn't loved and held and supported in that way. I was just teased. And so I'm unpacking a lot of the things that my mother told me, right? My mother teased me about being fat when I was younger. So now I have it. I have deep seated issues internally about weight, about what I eat, about going to the gym, about staying physical. And a lot of that is not mine, right? Yes, I enjoy going to the gym. Yes, I enjoy eating healthy and taking care of my body because I know the long term effects of that. But it's also deeply rooted in how I want to say groomed almost as a child, unknowingly, right? She didn't know. I'm sure that she didn't know, right? If folks knew as parents the things that they say and the ways that they say them would affect their children in the future, they would watch what they say. And hence why when I was raising my son, I was very careful, very, very, very careful with the things and the words that I said, even my anger, raising my voice, my tone, what I said and how I said, because I didn't want my son to be 35 years old, 44 years old, paying somebody to unpack all of that trauma that I caused. Now, if you go to therapy, if he goes to therapy at 35 because he wants to unpack things that, you know, he experienced in life or he witnessed in life, or I don't know, maybe it's anger or other things that he may need to navigate within himself, right? That would be something that's his journey. But I always was like, I don't want my child sitting on the comfy couch because of something that I said that they needed to pay somebody to unpack. So I was very careful and very mindful in the ways that I raised my child. And so healing today looks like for me therapy. I am an advocate for mental health services for folks who have access to that. Please, please, please take advantage of that. I know that that's a privilege. Not everyone is able to gain access to that. The mental health field is at capacity at times. And so folks don't have quick access. Folks don't have maybe the extra income to pay for therapy. But I will say, if it is a privilege that you have access to that, please utilize that, because there are folks that need it, that wish that they could access it and they can't. So another thing, that what my healing looks like for me now lately is this reflection series, right? Me showing up every day for 30 days to reflect on a question has been very, very healing to me. And so I, okay, not to get emotional, but even if I did, that is okay. It is okay to show emotions as a black trans man. It's okay to show emotions as a masculine presenting person, because it's a human emotion. And so I'm trying my best. This reflection series has been very healing for me in this moment, because a lot of the things that when I talk on Dem Boys Podcast, for folks who don't know, I'm the host of Dem Boys Podcast, and Dem Boys Podcast works to amplify the voices of trans men of color and our transitional journeys as we share our stories and things like that, right? So when I was homeless, when I was 18 to 21, I didn't talk. I didn't speak at all. I was in my car. I lived in my car for 2.5 years. Everything that I owned was in my trunk. I didn't have nowhere to go. I didn't have a job. I dropped out of college. I didn't talk. So when I was in high school, I was popular. I played sports. I had friends. I was outgoing. I was what you call a class clown. So I was always cracking jokes, laughing, doing shit in class I shouldn't have been doing. I should have been listening, even though I was a great student and I had great grades, but it didn't show in the ways that I acted out in class. But anyway, I digress. So I So when I was homeless, I didn't speak, I didn't talk. And so I lost my voice. I lost ways to communicate. I lost how the ability to speak. And then I had all this internalized trauma from when I was a child. So sitting in the car, not having anything to do, not having any place to go, that's an idle mind. And so my idle mind began to tear me up from the inside. So everything that I heard, everything that my mom said to me when she kicked me out, all of the Bible verses she spit at me, all of the damnation and all of this stuff, I internalized all of that. And that's all I could think about on repeat over and over and over and over. And I lost my voice. I didn't have anything to say because there was no one around me. I was in the car with my girlfriend at the time, but even she was dealing with her own issues of being homeless because her mother kicked her out, right? And so I'm navigating my gender identity, I'm navigating my sexual identity, and I'm unpacking all this stuff with nobody but another person my own age in a car, right? And so not knowing about life, not knowing how to process the situation that we were in, not having resources, right? And so I lost my voice. I just folded inside of myself and I didn't say anything for 2 years. Only thing we would say would be hi, gotta go to the bathroom, I'm hungry, right? We didn't talk. And so when I was integrated back, I feel like I was kind of like pushed back into society when I finally was taken into somebody else's home, and it changed the trajectory of my life. And then I was able to shower on a regular, brush my teeth on a regular, and I felt comfortable to go apply for jobs now. I was kind of like, then I was pushed back into the world and I didn't know how to talk. And so I always tell people when I go into spaces, I'm shy. I'm shy. I won't say that I'm shy, but I'm nervous. I get overly nervous about what to say to folks. I don't know how to speak sometimes because I'm still learning from the first thing in therapy of how to unpack all this trauma so that I can show up as my full authentic self all the time in every situation. And so this reflection series has given me the opportunity to reflect on things, and some of the things I haven't said and are talked about in a very long time or even at all, right? And so this is giving me the opportunity to share my voice and to share who I am as a person with the world, right? And so this reflection series has really been healing for me. Some of the questions, some of the topics that I've been able to dive deep into and to discuss a little bit, even though these videos aren't an hour, they're like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, however long, right? But it's giving me that opportunity to get my voice out there and to share. And so that's healing, very healing for me. And so and that's why I come with gratitude of folks who sat here with me for 23 days and watched my journey and watched my healing unfold. And hopefully that healing spilled onto you and it will help you heal in some ways. And so my next thing that is a part of my healing journey lately is Dem Bois Podcast. And so being able to be on a platform where I am currently healing and to be in community and in space with other folks as guests who are currently healing and are working on themselves and are out there in the community to provide care and services for other trans men, right? And so that's very healing, right? It's actually a privilege. I see this as a privilege to hold space for someone else's vulnerability and for them to share their stories, right? That's not easy, right? And just like I said, like a lot of these things I haven't spoken out loud. Sometimes folks come onto Dem Boys podcast and some of the stories that they tell, they haven't told before, right? And so that's healing to me to be that vessel for folks to share their stories and to share their lives and to leave ancestral presence for people in the future to see what trans men of color were doing today in 2025 and 2024, right? And in the past, right? And so that's very healing to me. And so the very last thing that I can think about what's healing for me in this moment is some of the comments and feedback that I've received from the community. And some of the comments has really given me life, right? And I'm a human being, right? And so when I said that I'm in therapy, I'm constantly battling my internal demons of I'm not enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have anything to say. Shut up, Shawn. You don't know what you're talking about, right? And so sometimes I'm like, I give up. I'm done. I can't do this no more. This is hard. This is rough. This is, I'm not feeling supported. I'm not feeling held, right? And this is just my own things that I need to work out with myself. They may not be true. And some of the things that I think internally are not true. And I don't want to feed into that negative energy. And so I always want to project positive energy. And so the only way to do that is to look within. But sometimes when I'm having that hard moment, I'll receive a comment, uh, just like I'm asking you to comment on this video and other videos within this 30-day series, right? But sometimes I may get a comment from someone I don't know, someone from somewhere else in the world, and they're reflecting on the work of Dem Boys Inc., which I'm the founder and executive director of. I will be sure to tag the link below in the description so that you can check that out, the website and also the podcast. But sometimes when I read these, I might be in that moment of really feeling low, and I'll read a comment and I'm like, whoa, that was the universe telling me to keep moving, Shawn. Keep doing this work, Shawn. Keep showing up because someone else's healing is witnessing your healing. And so it gives me life. And so I wanted to read like a cut, just two comments that kind of like really gave me life and kind of snapped me back into like, yo, you are on the right track to your healing, and other folks are healing also watching you in the process. And so this one comment says, this is a comment from Dem Bois Podcast. And so it says, Shawn is a deep, reflective, and beautiful person. Thank you. Who has a gift for storytelling. This podcast speaks on important issues related to trans people of color. I appreciate the balance of seriousness, sweetness, and sprinkles of laughter. Shawn, thank you for inviting us to think about things from a new perspective. And so this came from Apple Podcast. Someone listening left this comment there. And so that gives me life. And I want to say too, if that person is watching this video and you know that's your comment, thank you. I appreciate that. That gave me something to look forward to. And this one, and so if you know, I talked about a couple of days ago about my homelessness ish episode with Dem Boys Podcast, and that was episode 3. And so someone responded to that particular episode specifically. And so they said that I'm currently homeless and crying at the part where you and her felt so hopeless that you decided on unliving. I felt that too many times. And I reached back out to this person in response to that. But these things of like, I am being vulnerable and sharing my story and my experience, not knowing who's listening, not knowing, I'm just putting it out there into the world and hoping that folks grasp onto it and they are able to either it resonates or maybe it's a parent listening and it prevents them from causing that harm to their own children, right? Or maybe it's someone like this person that's in that current situation and know, like, yeah, I felt like unliving myself. And to know that they feel that way too, but they see me now, years now, later, and it's giving them a possibility, right? And like I always say, visibility equals possibility. And so my visibility shows them what's possible for them in their future if they continue to hold on and press forward. And so, and that's also what uh this reflection series, right? Of visibility equals possibility, meaning that I'm here being visible as a black trans man and I'm showing what's possible, right? And so I want to say, what is bringing you healing for today, right? What does your healing look like today? What has been currently helping you heal, and what is the path to your healing? Or if you feel like, you know what, I'm healed, Shawn, I've been working on this for a very long time and I think I'm at that point where I'm just at the cusp of being healed. I don't feel like we're all, anyone is completely healed, but I feel like we get very, very close to where we feel like those things that used to hold us down don't hold us down anymore. We learn how to navigate our nervous system so we aren't having those same responses to certain things in life, right? And so just let me know, comment below, what is helping you heal today. And just think, when I say visibility equals possibility, your comment below may help someone else who's reading and may invite them to also comment, right? And so thank you for tuning in to my 30-day reflection series. Yo, we got a couple more days, y'all. So this has been day 24 of my 30 days. My name is Shawn Aaron, he, him, his. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.